Hey, Alain. Thank you for coaching me and for letting me use this for my students.
Yes, as you're welcome. I'll be using it too on my side. So it's a win-win proposal.
Very cool. I'll try to be a good client.
Oh, I'll try to be a good coach. So one thing we said is we'd both agreed that this is recorded and it will be posted in different places for learning purposes and so on.
Right.
Okay. So whenever you want to get started, if you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay.
I guess you want me to say something about what this is about?
Well, it could be. I mean, I'm sort of waiting for whatever introduction you have, but if you want to focus immediately on your purpose, your goal, or desired outcome or whatever, I mean, we can zoom right into it.
Yeah, I guess my desired outcome, or I don't quite know what the desired outcome is just yet, but I know that I have difficulties planning, structuring, living my life in ways that I'm really happy with doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So either I should just be happy with what it is or change something. And I'm not quite sure yet.
Okay. It's really interesting because I really have sort of the same issue. So I'd like to share that right away, especially because what could happen is at some points I get involved and start projecting and stuff like that. So if you ever see that I'm starting to step on your toes, just, sort of react to it. And I'll watch out too. And we can, it's sort of important to say this up front.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it's about. And I don't yet know. It's been a recurring theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried different things, and some of them have worked partially, but still I'm kind of struggling with this issue, kind of being driven to do things and then not doing other things and then not being happy about that. And if you have similar issues, you probably can understand what this can feel like.
Yeah. Generally, do you see a pattern of what you usually include that wasn't, sort of part of the plan, and then what you usually exclude that raises some kind of dissatisfaction? Do you see a pattern in that more precisely?
I work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the pattern is that things that I really want to do get postponed or don't happen because more. Okay.
Sorry.
That's not a problem. But it's at a very synchronicity time, right? Things interrupting when you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very good with time management, as in I don't tend to drop balls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of means that things that I really want to do get marginalized. More like playing the ukulele.
Okay, so it's more personal stuff, artistic stuff.
Personal stuff, artistic stuff, learning that isn't tied exactly to an outcome. So I can do learning if I have a presentation to give.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not tied to an outcome,
Mm-hmm.
then it gets, I've gotten better at reading for relaxation. So I've been doing that more. But usually all of my research happens in plane, trains, and automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's research, it's fun stuff, it's artistic stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel there's maybe another way that you can plan, because you probably have a planning pattern? Is there a change in your planning pattern that could give things, sort of priority, or it may not be put as a priority?
I have, I think, a very good planning system. I use a system called Toodle-Do that allows you to do kind of prioritization, timing, and I know exactly what I have to do when. It's just that, so I have kind of time. Work time is from 8 to 8.
Yeah,
Knowing that I won't work 10 hours, 12 hours. I'll work 8 hours within that.
Mm-hmm.
So customers can book coaching sessions from 8 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll make sure I get 4 free hours in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And that happens.
That does tend to happen more and more.
Okay. So you see a good progression.
Yes, it's starting to get a little bit better, but it's really not where I want it to be.
Okay. But considering it's going in the right direction, is accelerating what you're doing, or sort of increasing or tweaking what you're doing so it happens faster, is that an option?
Yes.
Or would you like to do something radically different to try and get immediate change?
That, I think, is the question. That, I think, really, because I could theoretically just say, I will do 1 day a week and I'll just do my research. I'll do writing. I do things that will be good for my future and will be fun and all of that. I could theoretically do that. Mm-hmm. But the second I start thinking about it, I'm just going, oh no, no. What if a customer wants that day? Or what if, so there is I think it's a dichotomy between wanting to be really flexible for my customers so that they can get their coaching sessions and mentoring sessions in when they need them, and my needs for, yeah.
I can sort of understand that, because if you set a day aside, that means the rest of the time it'll be more full-time. And it's good to have a mix of pleasure in the work and a mix of work in the pleasure. It's a different lifestyle. Yeah. But then that means to improve, you need to tweak what you're doing already.
I think so. Yeah, because I did do this 1 research day a week a couple of years ago, and that just didn't work at all.
Okay. So you know what you don't want.
Yeah. Well, theoretically I wanted, but practically it never happened.
Yeah. But it's a different lifestyle. In other words, it's kind of forcing you into something else.
Yeah, and I guess my main question is, how could that lifestyle work that I'm happy with it, that I don't feel I'm neglecting the stuff that I want to do.
Do you do some tracking? In other words, at the end of the week, do you know exactly how much global time you put one way and global time you put the other way?
I don't, but could. It's quite easy to see. So I know with my to-do list, I know what I've done. And so far, the fun things don't go on the to-do list because somehow I have this weird idea that they should happen automatically, but I'm starting to get rid of that idea.
Well, maybe they do happen automatically, but if you measure the work time and not the other time, then you have a mental idea that one is happening and the other one less. If you measure both, you'll be more in a reality of what you're actually doing. And you may have the satisfaction of finding you're doing it quite a lot. So it'll get out of a sort of feeling and it'll be more measurable.
As in kind of, if you don't measure it, you're not going to notice, and then you're always going to think you're lacking when maybe you're not.
Maybe, and maybe you'll actually be facing a reality and say, yeah, that, you know, I need to bring it from here to there, but it's measurable. It's hard to know the change you're going to do if you don't measure it before and after.
That is quite true. That is quite true. So if can I just look at my calendar of last week and can see what I'm seeing there?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it now, or you can make it in an action plan later, and whatever.
Could. So well, I actually did have 8 hours of fun stuff last week.
Did you put it all in? Do you put it in when you do it?
Do I slot it into my calendar?
Yeah.
Not each and every one, but most of them, yes, I do. I do.
It's minimum 8. It could be more.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have like 16 waking hours, so a day.
Yeah. But I mean, the equivalent of saying I'll put a day aside and do it, you actually have 8 hours where you're doing it.
Yeah, but that's all non-work stuff. So that's like sports and ukulele and language learning and reading and those kinds of things. The research and writing and fun future stuff, that I don't think, maybe a little bit happened last week, but not much.
Not much. But you didn't write it in, or did you?
No.
No.
It's kind of, I did it because I bought a new program and wanted to try it out to design nice flyers and nice ebooks and stuff. And then after doing it, I immediately felt guilty. Kind of, you should have been doing the things on your to-do list, but here you are playing with this new computer program.
So there's things you don't put on your to-do list and you don't measure you did.
Yes.
So you feel guilty because it was not on the to-do list, although it's satisfying.
Because it was kind of not urgent. It was important, but it's not urgent. And it was fun. So it not being urgent and being done anyway when there still was a little bit of urgent stuff to be done.
It's interesting because in a way, I mean, you do have a way of functioning, but there's some things you choose not to put on your to-do list and not to measure, so you can feel guilty about it when you do it.
I don't know if it's so I can feel guilty about it.
No, but I mean, it's sort of out of the picture of what's important because it's not urgent and so on. And in a way, you may deal with it someday when it becomes urgent.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I don't like. I don't want to be just driven by getting things done.
Yeah, so it sounds very clear.
Yeah, so I do have to make time, but I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm usually good at making myself do things. And so that's, for me, it's a real puzzle.
But actually, you're doing things. It's not necessarily changing what you do. It's changing the way you look at it, the way you measure it, the way you plan it. In other words, we could say it's almost urgent that you start putting important things on your list.
Yeah. But there is stuff that I would like to be doing that is not going to become urgent.
No, it's urgent that you put important things on your list.
It is now urgent that I put important things in my list. Yeah, well, I could, but then, they are in my list actually, but they don't have a date.
Okay.
And then if they have a date, they get pushed.
Ah, so you push them when you put a date on the slot for some of these things.
I did used to have a date. First attempt was having a date, trying to take them seriously. Then seeing all these things that I
Okay.
could do, and then saying, no, that just doesn't work. It just overwhelms me with stuff I need to be doing. So I will only have the things that I really have to get done by this date for someone else.
That sounds very clear for you. In other words, where is it you see something you can change? Because you're very descriptive about what you do. It's very clear. You seem to know it all very well. Now, if your objective in this coaching is to move forward into something you can change, it seems we sort of made an inventory of what you do. So what's the next step? Where is there an avenue for you that you want to explore? Or maybe actually it's to say, okay, that's the way I function now. It's gradually evolving. It's not urgent that I change it.
No, it is urgent because I'm not happy with it. So
Okay.
I want to be happier with it.
Okay. So imagine it's solved and you're really, really happy, say, 15 years or whatever.
Can this be faster than 15 years, please?
I'm sure it can, but it's sort of to let go completely.
Okay, 15 years. Okay. So I'm going to be 67.
And you're doing it just the way you want. Okay. And you're really happy with it. There's a good mix.
There is a good mix. Okay. I don't want to be working this much when I'm 67. So can we still make it a little bit shorter?
Yeah, make it okay in 2 years.
And like, let's say 2 to 5 years or something. Okay, so I would still be doing the what I'm doing because I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I would also just naturally be doing research, writing, blogging, connecting with other people around the ideas that I love.
So
and it would just happen because that's what I do.
Okay. So you don't program anymore, it just happens.
I would continue my programming system, but when I have something on the list like write article XYZ, I would have the time for it. I would do it. I would take it seriously. I would just take it seriously.
So you don't take it seriously today?
No, not enough. I don't think so.
Okay.
And maybe it's the lack of feedback. Because when I work with customers, I get immediate feedback. I can kind of make people happy or have a good time or progress or, something like that. And I love that. That kind of the connection of it.
Yeah, I understand.
And sometimes when I get myself to write something, when I know that somebody would be really happy having this document, it happens automatically. So there are many bits of instances where something like this already happens. So doing more of that.
Could one way of getting there be arranging to distribute this in various ways so as to get more feedback.
Yes. Yes. That could work. Oh, now I'm realizing something. I think I've tried doing more LinkedIn posts or blog posts, etc. But then I know for this to be most useful to people, it's a good practice is to have this kind of regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been saying to myself, I need to write at least 10 blog posts before I can start a blog, so I can have a schedule and not be stressed. Now you need to write something very, very urgently, because I don't want to be the next distributor of stuff that's not original. That's, there's too much stuff out there already. So it's kind of the regularity and my idea of quality that's getting in my way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get these 10 blog posts, I have to start writing without feedback.
Oh, you sure know how to get yourself in a corner.
Yeah, I'm good at, I'm very good at that.
Very good.
Yeah. So maybe what I could do is arrange for some kind of pilot feedback for the blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
So I could think of 10 topics and then think of people who would like to have these topics written about. And then I could write them, send them to these people, make them happy, get their happy faces and some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And then do that 10 times until so that might be a way of tricking myself out of the corner I've painted myself into.
Mm-hmm. How could you write in a way for your own satisfaction?
Yeah. That is a very good question.
In other words, is there a type of writing that you've done in the past that was very useful for you and that you never showed anyone?
Yeah, lots. I mean, I always learn a lot when I write. So I love that. I like writing. It's not that I don't have to kind of get my bum to be on my seat to write. It's just that I know, and I also know how to trick myself to start. I can do all these things.
Yeah.
It's writing that I never showed. So I used to write poetry. I never showed. I'm not showing this to anyone, and that's not likely going to change.
No, what I mean by this is, from what you say, is the satisfaction you get is when you get feedback from others. And it seems that you're not also measuring the satisfaction you get for doing your own process in the writing.
I'm sure not measuring that. No. Because that would also mean taking myself more seriously as a researcher, and and I would like to be able to do that. And there's just so much stuff. And I'm torn between wanting to take myself seriously because I know I have something to offer. And then there is all that stuff I need to do to keep my business running, which I also love. So
it's interesting that you should separate the two.
well, how would you think them together?
Well, in a way, the more you could say, the more you dive into what's important for you, the more it's worth sharing.
That's true.
And the more you will probably get very good feedback. But the more you aim at something for, putting stuff out there.
No, I'm not aiming at stuff out there. I mean, because there is too much stuff out there. It really, when I'm talking about making people happy, it is about delivering real value, about something that they need and that I can offer.
Yeah, that you can offer is the important thing. In other words, what I feel in the way you're describing it is it's as if it's separate. In other words, if you really dive into yourself and are writing for you, can you measure the difference in value for others?
I don't think I understand that question.
In other words, if it's really something that is for you and you're writing for yourself, and then you put it out there, can you measure that it has a completely different value for other people?
Do I have an experience of that? I mean, my book on solution-focused team coaching gets very, very good feedback because people think it is very practical. It's very useful. Did I write this for myself or for other people? I don't know. Because when I was writing it, I was thinking of making this useful, explaining this, saving people time when they don't have to read tons of literature, but it's neatly packaged. And I don't think there was a difference between writing for myself and writing for the people who are going to be reading it.
Question, do you write in the first person when you write for others, or do you write as if it's something for them, one should, or you can, or a coach does, or do you say, when this happens to me, this is what I do?
Yeah, no. I had that discussion with myself when I was writing my book, and I started with a one and, having the author masked. And then I was like, oh, that's just so not gonna fly. It's very cumbersome and it doesn't read well. And people want to hear my stories. So I'm telling them my stories.
So it's in the first person.
It isn't. I think so. Yeah.
So in a way, when you're giving things to other people, you're already mentioning that it is about you.
Yeah, about me and how that can be useful to them. So they wouldn't be interested in, I don't know, are my toenails green, red, or blue at this point? It's not. It's about those parts of me that will be useful to them. Okay. So I guess if I attach a kind of a so that to more of these activities, not just writing, but other things I like learning and doing. it might motivate me to do more of them or take them more seriously. And so that isn't just so that other people can be happy, but also so that I then know, or so that I then whatever. So it doesn't have to be so that they, but can also be so that I.
Well, in physics, they say there's no out there anyway. So in a way, I would say, how can you link really in terms of your own motivation, what you say that you're doing for the others, and really acknowledge you're doing it for yourself, and take it seriously, because that's the best way of doing things for others.
Yes, of course. Yeah. If I do good things and share them, then it's good for me, it's good for them, it's good for everybody.
There's no out there anyways.
Right. That's true. That is quite true.
So in a way, there's a dichotomy, I would say, if you firmly see this, saying, I'm not taking myself seriously, I'm doing it for others.
And it doesn't have to be a dichotomy.
It doesn't
I hear you saying, yeah.
Yes, it doesn't have to.
So this is an and, yeah.
And there you will see how all your value is actually in you, and you need to focus on that. Sharing.
Well, if there is an in and out, anyway.
Yes.
Right.
But really taking what's in you seriously, you'll probably deliver differently to others because it's for you.
Yep. I see that. I get that. And am I very confident that I'm going to change something?
No.
So how can I change something?
I don't know. There's two ways of looking at it in a way. One, I would say, is what I hear you know how to do is completely action plan oriented and doing it, and, doing it seriously, and sort of forcing yourself to change things and so on. It's sort of the method person. And another way of approaching the issue is saying, what's deeper than this? In other words, what's going to drive the method?
Yeah.
And I don't know which one you prefer, because, just previous to this, we're saying, okay, what's deeper than this? And we're sort of digging. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. In other words, I don't have the method to do it. And there may be, again, a dichotomy or a split or something like this.
Is it, I'm thinking of a time management method.
Yeah, that's the
because I got that pat. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And it's not happening. So what's deeper?
Yeah. And I would like to be able to take what I want out there in the world, or in me, whatever this is, right? More seriously. And I know when all the stuff comes that's on my to-do list.
When you go out there.
Yeah. I would need some, not like a method, not like a time management method.
No.
But instead of, for instance, saying, oh my God, now you spend 2.5 hours playing with this beautiful new programs, trying to find out how to do really beautiful PDFs and how to do lovely blog posts, etc. You shouldn't have done that, because now you're scrambling to get something done that you could have taken more time with. I would like to be just very happy with myself. Like, yay, you made some progress. You learned how to do this program. This is lovely. This is fun. This has a lot of potential, right? So that could be a deeper shift, and I don't know how to go about that.
Just to, you know, sort of know where we stand. We've been together for about 30 minutes. We haven't really established a total time.
Yeah, we have, like, I don't know, another 15 minutes or so from my side, or 15, 20.
Okay. No, it's not. It's a question of where do you want to conclude this, because it seems that there's some ways you're moving forward, and then there's a dissatisfaction, and then, you know, you're sort of searching things, and then there's a dissatisfaction. And it's kind of like the process you're talking about, where we're sort of repeating it in a micro sort of thing. So it's interesting in the beginning, because I was saying, it seems that you're gradually shifting, but then you'd like to have it faster.
Yeah.
And in the coaching process, I also feel that you're gradually searching things, and then you move back to a sort of, yeah, but I don't know how to do it.
So are you saying I need to be more patient with myself, and I'll eventually get there?
No, I'm saying it's just the same pattern in a way. So it's like all of a sudden you get out and say, oh, well, you know, I'm still stuck and it's not good, and so on. And in spite of that, I see progress.
So maybe just let go of this idea that I will be stuck forever. And
that you will be
stuck forever.
Yeah.
And that this is never going to happen. Instead, just observe how I'm slowly getting ready to do this, and then do it more. And like, I mean, if I could let that go and just observe myself.
Yeah, that's where the measurement comes in, I would say. If you could measure more exactly what you do, of what quality, when, and stuff like that, have a few more cues in your week, you know, so that at the end you have a clearer picture of where you stand. And then probably I would say not force anything, but see how having a clearer picture helps you to naturally evolve into something differently, or naturally actually say, well, it's pretty good for now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good for now, and me is not a sentence that usually fits together. I'm always interested in doing new stuff and interesting things, and but I think that's a good idea. So what I think I would need to be complete is some sort of a good point in time where I can do the observation. So
I'm not really following you.
No, if I'm going to say I'm going to observe what I'm going to do over the week, and not necessarily change anything, but just observe how much.
Yeah, and measure it. Put it more into your system, so it's clearer.
Okay, so one thing I could do is put in my calendar, even in retrospect, the stuff that I actually did.
Yeah, at the end of the day, or at the end of 2 days, etc. Say, okay, and put, you know, pencil in what you haven't been measuring.
Yeah, and what has happened maybe anyway. Right, so that's great. So then, okay, and then I usually have my Friday date with myself hour where I plan the next week, because, you know, the week is very very flexible, and I need to make sure that this
So on
is
that
livable.
day,
Yeah.
you'll be able to have a clear picture of the week. And then there's nothing to do but see the week later, you know, how has the picture shifted by just measurement.
And I have a time for that. I have my Friday date with myself anyway. That's cool. Yeah, I can do that. And I think if I put it into my Outlook, you know, I've tried using apps and, you know, measuring the time, and that usually that's just too much of a hassle, and I don't want to be glued to my phone all the time. But if I do this in the evening or the next morning, kind of review the last day and see what did I actually do, put it in the calendar, and then look at it on a Friday and just see what happened.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And just measure.
Just measure, yeah.
I would say don't set any goals for a while and just measure.
Oh, yeah. Don't set any goal. You're talking to the right person, but I'll give it a good go of not setting any goals.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I firmly believe that just measurements gives you a clear idea of where you stand and may have the effect you want.
Yeah, of course. I mean, anything you deliberately practice, you need a baseline, and if you don't have a baseline, then you can't move. That's quite true.
And it's hard to know what you did if you don't measure it, and it's hard to know, you know, in a way, who you are or how happy you are if you don't have a measurement of the happiness times.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
So that's part of an action plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when, I know how, and it is flexible. It's not like I have to do this. You know, it's doable. It's entirely doable. So very high confidence that this can work.
Okay. Anything else you could see about this? Is there somebody you could share it with that's close to you? And say, okay, this is my plan.
My husband, I could share it with him.
This is my plan, and I'd like to, you know, touch base with you once a week and see what the progression is.
Very evil little thought. Share it with my husband so he finally sees how much of the freaking housework I do. No, just kidding.
Well, it could have some side benefits.
No, but it would be nice to discuss it with my husband because he usually has good insights into things and is a lovely person. So
Yeah, and you know, to say just so I know, I need to share it with somebody because that's going to motivate me to, you know, follow up and look at it. If we have a weekly discussion, it's sort of like you say, it's putting it in the public that may say, "Wow, great," and validate you and so on. It's just not you alone. It's you know, making it so you get feedback on it.
yeah. And I can tell my husband if I start talking about changing things too early, please stop me.
Yeah. If I start setting big goals and ambitious stuff, like, you know, the old steamroller or whatever.
Yeah. He knows me well enough. He can stop me. That's good. Yeah.
It sounds like you have a paradoxical type of strategy, which is, I'm going to keep from changing, and that will help change. Yeah,
I'm going to keep from changing a bit until I have a baseline.
yeah.
And then see what develops,
Yeah,
right?
what gradually develops.
Yeah.
But I don't want goals because that's a way of not changing.
Okay.
Does it make
Having
sense?
goals is a way of not changing.
In other words, you know how to do that, then you do it. Setting goals and doing it.
Yeah. But it hasn't worked this, so I need a different strategy for this. You're right.
So
Yeah.
having a paradoxical strategy is just, I'll just measure and I don't have any objective to change anything. And that in itself is a change.
That is a big change. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. But I'm realizing how, part of me is going, oh, no. And just saying, yeah, I'm realizing that, I'm noticing that, and you're just going to be quiet for a bit.
Yeah. So it could be part of the contract with your husband to say, if you see me start functioning the old way by setting goals to change, please, wake me up.
Yeah. Just give me a good shake. He can do that, I'm sure.
Okay. Are we getting close to the plus 15 or plus 10?
Yeah.
Anything you want to say to conclude?
I'm complete. I have a good insight and a way forward, and I'm going to experiment. And if you don't mind, I'll let you know in a couple of weeks, or 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I've been able to, if you're interested, I'll send you a little mail.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a plan for you.
No.
Yes,
But
I would really appreciate it to say, okay, here's where I stand. Here's the small change I see. It's in the right direction, or in the measures as they go.
we'll do that.
Okay.
So thank you very much. This was lovely. Isn't it great? Win, win, win. My students can see you coach. I get a lovely insight. Your customers get to see how you coach. So that's great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so I'll stop the recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.